The Democratic race for governor seems a little more murky than the Republican race. The Baldwin-Wallace poll shows Richard Cordray with a healthy 16-point lead over his closest rival, Dennis Kucinich. Joe Schiavone and Bill O'Neill are pretty far back, but look at that undecided number. 4 in 10 likely Democrats say they are unsure for whom they will vote. Herb Asher, why so many undecided in the Democratic race?
I think they have 4 choices. 2 of the names they definitely don't know. The other 2 names they might know something about. But this has not been, unlike the Republican primary, there's, at least on television, there's not been an awful lot of advertising. And there hasn't been the histrionics and the passion on the Democratic. Every once in a while, Kucinich will get it going and try to rile things up, but you know, it's not the same kind of event as we're seeing on the GOP side.
And Kucinich needed to be on TV, particularly outside the Cleveland market, because an awful lot of people in Dayton, Cincinnati, Toledo, Columbus don't really know him. For some, that's good for Kucinich. For some, it's kind of bad, but he's just not that well known in roughly the 65% of the rest of the state outside Cleveland market.
I feel like we always hear that voters don't appreciate negative advertising, but it definitely gives them something to hold on to. Even if they say, oh, I feel really badly for Mike DeWine, I mean, Mary Taylor's beating him up, or if they say, I think Mary Taylor might be right about what she says about DeWine, it's still something. It's a conversation. And if there's, you know, it's hard to just have a biographical ad out and expect people to.
Yeah, and on the Democratic side, you know, what's the major issue they're talking about? I mean, certainly Kucinich has gone after Cordray on guns, but that's all there is there on his side.
Well, and he's done the gun thing, but unless you were some of the 200 or 300 people, maybe St. Margaret was a little higher, but very few people watched the debates, and it hadn't really gotten. Yeah. There's a potential issue there, but Kucinich hadn't exploited.
Jackie, do we know why Dennis Kucinich hasn't done a lot of TV, if any? Is it money? Is it?
I think it's a combination of money. He claims that, you know, he's running more of a traditional populist campaign where he's meeting with voters across the state, traveling the state. You know, his campaign every couple of days makes a point to get it out there, all the different places he's been across the state and different things that he's involved in. He's got a pretty aggressive get out the vote plans for the weekend, including appearances with Nina Turner, who, you know, former state senator, and now is kind of leading the Bernie Sanders, his campaign, that the post-election version of his campaign, along with Danny Glover, who also was, you know, Bernie supporters.
Dave Matthews concert.
He had a Dave Matthews Band concert. There are ads on TV that seem to help him, but they're actually being funded by a Republican.
We have that ad.
Oh, yeah.
The little cross-party mischief in this race, a big Republican donor from Cleveland is running an ad saying Richard Cordray is too conservative from a Republican.
Why do Republicans like Rich Cordray so much? He has an A+ rating from the NRA, and he hurt consumers by quitting his job as America's consumer watchdog so Trump could appoint his replacement. And he's lost to DeWine before. Democrats are supposed to be for working people. Democrats are supposed to be for responsible gun ownership. Rich Cordray is for neither. We can't win with Republican light. Is Rich Cordray really a Democrat? Paid for by Citizens Policy Institute, not affiliated with any candidate or campaign committee.
Did you get all that? Jackie, what's the backstory on this guy, first of all?
So that is a political action committee that is headed up by Tony George. He's a Cleveland area businessman, owns his company owns a bunch of restaurants in the Cleveland area. He's a big political donor, very active, and, you know, if you call him up, he'll tell you flat out who he supports and why.
He's maxed out how much he can give to Mary Taylor.
He has maxed out. Mary Taylor is his candidate. Maxed out what he gave to her. He's given $250,000, I believe, to her super PAC. So, you know, clearly that's his horse that he's hitched his wagon to. And so this ad is just, it's funny because you talk to the Kucinich folks and they're saying, well, we don't have a comment on this. This has nothing to do with us. But clearly, and this isn't the only example. We've seen this cycle where a, you know, ad is put out to encourage voters toward a primary candidate of the opposite, you know, party.
It's designed to hurt the more formidable general election.
Yeah, the strategy is you want to choose your opponent that you think you have a better chance of beating in the general.
Does this mischief ever work, Herb?
Sometimes. Democrats have actually, in the past, in Nevada, for example, actually messed around in Republican primaries and wound up giving Harry Reid a weaker candidate to run against. I mean, one of the things to watch out with so much money out there, And in many cases, you don't even know the sources. Here, at least we know it's Tony. But with so much dark money, if you were a conservative dark money group, you'd want, in fact, Dennis Kucinich to get the nomination because you believe that he would be the weakest candidate in November, and he would probably be another Ed Fitzgerald who would get 35% of the vote or whatever. And in doing that, Kucinich would drag down every Democrat, including probably Sherrod Brown. So this is really mischief, and both parties have a history of it. But again, when there's so much money out there, and you can't find good outlets for it, let's play around.
But I don't think that ad got that much play or that much money behind it. So you might have aired
Yeah.
it, but this is the first time I've seen the ad. I haven't seen it on real
You
television.
know what the buy is for this ad?
No, I
We
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
No. We're probably giving it more pub than it's getting on the thing.
But I was just going to say that it is very interesting that on the Republican side, I think there is a real dogfight, if you will, that they actually think that they each could win and that they each could win in the general election. Where on the Democratic side, there's just sort of this playing around with, obviously, Democratic groups would swoop in for whoever gets elected if they win, if it's Schiavone or O'Neill.
Yep.
But right now, it's just anybody's guess.
Cordray gets a lot of fault for being low-key, which he is. He's a low-key guy.
Be bland like
Bland.
the plain dealer did.
And his
said today.
ads are nice. They're nice, but they're no name-calling Mary Taylor ads that Mike DeWine is
But
is
sometimes late at night you want to be able to go to sleep, and it helps you do that.
running. So I mean,
Well,
how much of a hindrance is that to him in the primary, and then if he does win, moving on to the general?
It'll be important in the general election for Cordray to do two things. One, to demonstrate sort of enthusiasm and vision. And vision is both sort of the content of what you stand for and then how you present it. So he does have to, I think, be more high energy. But I found some of the coverage right now, in the Plain Dealer especially, saying, "Oh, bland is bad. I'm sorry, that is so shallow. That's absurd," or whatever. Content's more important, but I'm a political scientist, so we care about these
Well,
things.
and I've talked to Democrats who say, you know what, bland sounds pretty good right now. And we've got Trump in the White House, and it's not all about being a flashy, candidate that can punch back. It's
And Mike DeWine's happy to not have an opponent for the fall who's going to be Mr. Charisma. So he doesn't need to worry about that.
But we have to remember, too, I mean, people who, in this state who follow national politics, many of them know who Rich Cordray is and what he did in Washington, which was not bland at all. I mean, he did some pretty tough things. And, I think they're counting on the fact that there's at least some people out there who don't need to be reminded of that, because they don't seem to be reminding people too much, other than bringing Elizabeth Warren in.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
putting
maybe.
Barack Obama in your ads.
Right, yeah. And so I think that it's a matter of definition, what you say. I mean, he's not a charismatic stump speaker and that kind of thing.
Cordray wants to get through the primary with a decent margin of victory and have the party relatively unified, and then move on to November and decide what are the cluster of issues. And one of the things he really hasn't talked about very much is directly Ohio problems. He's talked a little bit about ECOT and some other misdeeds or whatever, but he'll have to have to really have a focus. What does he stand for, and why should you choose him over his opponent, Mike DeWine, assuming DeWine wins?